They had fame. They had money. They had the world watching their every move. And then they vanished. No note, no goodbye. Nobody ever found it. Hollywood calls it a mystery, but those who knew them, they call it something much darker. Coming up, 12 stars who disappeared and were never seen again. 1. Jean Spangler, the starlet, who vanished in the night. In 1949, Jean Spangler was just 26 years old, a rising Hollywood actress with an adored face. She kissed her daughter goodbye one Friday evening, told her family she was heading out for a quick movie shoot, and simply never came home. The next morning, her purse was found in Griffith Park. Inside was a note half-written, eerie. It read, "Can't wait any longer. Going to see Dr. Scott. It will work out best this way while Mother is away." The signature, just K. Who was K? A lover? A studio boss? Or something far more sinister? Police interrogated everyone, including actor Kirk Douglas, who admitted she once worked with him, but he denied knowing anything more. Rumors swirled that she was tangled in Hollywood's dark underbelly mobsters, illegal abortions, secret affairs. But here's the chilling part. No one ever saw her again. Nobody. No clue. Just whispers in smoky bars and a motherless child left behind. Can you imagine that? One night you're on the brink of stardom, and by sunrise, you're a ghost story. To this day, Jean Spangler's fate remains one of Hollywood's most disturbing mysteries. And if you think her story is haunting, wait until you hear about the next star whose disappearance left behind something even stranger than a note. 2. Connie Converse, the singer who vanished without a trace. Before Bob Dylan, before Joni Mitchell, there was Connie Converse, a haunting voice, lyrics that cut deep. In the 1950s, she recorded songs alone in her New York apartment, songs no one would hear until decades later. But success never came. By 1974, Connie was exhausted, depressed. She told friends she needed a fresh start. She packed up her Volkswagen Beetle, wrote goodbye letters, and then drove off. Destination? Unknown. Her car was never found. Neither was Connie. All that remained were her tapes, raw, fragile, full of pain. Imagine listening to a voice that seems to predict her own disappearance. One line still haunts listeners. "Will be gone, like smoke in the air." Was she starting a new life? Did she end her own? Or did something far darker happen on that road trip? No one knows. All we have is the echo of her songs. A ghost preserved on vinyl. And the mystery only deepens with the next star, because this time, the disappearance happened under the watchful eyes of the world. 3. Jimmy Hoffa, the union boss, who simply vanished. He wasn't an actor. He wasn't a singer. But Jimmy Hoffa was a star in his own right. A man so powerful in America's labor movement that Hollywood couldn't resist his story. July 30th, 1975. Hoffa was last seen outside a Detroit restaurant, waiting for a meeting. Witnesses spotted him pacing the parking lot. Then, nothing. By the time his car was discovered abandoned, Hoffa had simply evaporated. Theories exploded. Some say the mafia silenced him. Others claim government agencies had a hand. For decades, people swore his body was buried under stadiums, highways, even swimming pools. Every dig ended in dust. Can you imagine that? A man with FBI eyes on him 24/7, and yet he disappears as if the earth itself swallowed him whole. Nearly 50 years later, Hoffa's name is still whispered as America's greatest missing person mystery. And yet his case isn't the only one that feels like it was written for the screen. The next disappearance? It's pure Hollywood tragedy. 4. Barbara Newhall, Follett, the child prodigy who walked into darkness. She wasn't just a writer. She was a genius. By the age of 13, Barbara Newhall Follett had already published a critically acclaimed novel. Critics called her the next great American author. Imagine that, a child already being compared to Hemingway. But life has a cruel way of breaking brilliance. By her 20s, Barbara's marriage was falling apart. Depression crept in. On a cold December night in 1939, at just 25 years old, she walked out of her New Hampshire home with only a few dollars in her pocket. She never came back. Nobody. No answers. No trace. Some say she planned it, that she left behind a suffocating world to start over. Others whisper of something darker, that she was silenced. perhaps by the very husband she was desperate to leave. Her last words to him still chill the bones. "I don't want to live a simple life. I want adventure." But adventure, it seems, swallowed her whole. And if Barbara's vanishing feels haunting, the next case is even stranger, because this time a famous star vanished from her home, but from the sky. 5. Amelia Earhart, the pilot who vanished into thin air. She was America's sweetheart of the skies, the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, a pioneer, a daredevil. Amelia Earhart wasn't just famous, she was legendary. But in July 1937, during her attempt to circumnavigate the globe, her plane vanished over the Pacific. Radio contact was lost. No wreckage was found. An entire world held its breath, waiting for her return, but she never came back. For decades, theories have swirled. Some believe her plane crashed into the ocean, swallowed by the endless waves. Others claim she was captured by the Japanese military, and a few insist she survived, living under a new identity far from fame. Can you imagine the terror of those final moments? A failing engine, fuel running out, an empty horizon stretching forever. What really happened up there? No one knows. What we do know is this: Amelia Earhart remains the most famous missing woman in history. And if the ocean can take Amelia, what chance did the next star have when his demons came from within? 6. Richie Edwards, the rock star who walked away. In the 1990s, Richie Edwards wasn't just a guitarist. He was the soul of the Manic Street Preachers, a British band worshipped for its raw, angry energy. But behind the eyeliner and electric riffs, Richie was drowning in darkness. On February 1st, 1995, he checked out of his London hotel. His car was later found abandoned near the Severn Bridge, a place notorious for suicides. But Richie's body never found. For years, fans refused to believe he was gone. Some claimed they saw him in Goa, India. Others swore he was living off the grid, hiding from fame. His lyrics didn't help so many of them read like confessions. One line still chills listeners. "I know I believe in nothing, but it is my nothing." Did he end his own story that day? Or did he simply escape into the shadows? 30 years later, the question still lingers every time one of his songs plays. And if Richie's disappearance feels tragic, the next case is even stranger, because this time, the star left behind a trail of blood. 7. Bison Dealey, the NBA star who never came back. He had it all: fame, money, and an NBA championship ring. Bison Dealey wasn't just a basketball player, he was larger than life. But after retiring young, he craved something else: freedom, adventure, the open sea. In July 2002, Dealey set sail from Tahiti with his girlfriend, his brother, and the boat's captain. Only one man ever returned his brother. The others? Gone, vanished into the Pacific. When police questioned him, the brother's story fell apart. He fled, leaving behind a trail of lies and suspicion. Weeks later, he himself was dead, which meant the truth about what happened on that yacht died with him. Some believe Dealey and his girlfriend were murdered at sea. Others say their bodies rest somewhere in the ocean's silent depths. What's certain is this: one of basketball's brightest stars disappeared into water so vast, even today, not a single trace has been found. Can you imagine? A man who once played before millions, reduced to nothing but whispers carried by the tide. And the next disappearance? It wasn't at sea, it happened in the middle of the desert under the burning Nevada sun. 8. Ambrose Small, the theater tycoon who walked out and never returned. He was Canada's king of theater, a millionaire, a showman, a man who controlled the lights, curtains, and dreams of an entire generation. But on December 2nd, 1919, Ambrose Small walked out of his office and was never seen again. That very day, he had sold his theater empire for over $1 million a fortune at the time. And then, he vanished into the streets of Toronto like smoke. His car remained untouched, his office undisturbed, his bank account full. At first, people whispered about kidnapping, then murder. Even his own wife became a suspect. But with no body and no ransom, investigators were left chasing shadows. Can you imagine? A man with more wealth than kings simply vanishing overnight. No phone call, no note, no goodbye. A century later, his disappearance still haunts Canadian history. Some even claim his ghost lingers inside the theaters he once owned, waiting for the final curtain call. But if Ambrose's vanishing feels like a ghost story, the next one is darker, because this time, the desert itself swallowed the star whole. 9. Sean Flynn. Hollywood's golden boy lost in war. He had it all in his blood. The son of swashbuckling screen legend Errol Flynn, Sean was born into fame. But unlike his father, Sean didn't chase Hollywood's spotlight. He chased danger, adventure, truth. By the 1960s, he had traded acting for war photography. With a camera around his neck, he threw himself into the burning chaos of Vietnam and Cambodia. Then, on April 6, 1970, Sean rode his motorbike down a dirt road in Cambodia and never came back. Rumors said he was captured by the Khmer Rouge. Others believed he was executed in the jungle. Some even whispered he lived on, hidden away, stripped of his past. But no proof ever surfaced. His body was never found. Think about that. The son of a Hollywood icon, swallowed by a war that didn't even belong to him. To this day, Sean Flynn's fate remains one of the most chilling reminders of how even stars can be erased by history's darkest chapters. And if the jungle could take Sean, what chance did the next star have, when the very people he trusted were the ones who made him vanish? 10. Michael Rockefeller, the heir who vanished among cannibals. He had everything: money, power, the Rockefeller name. But Michael Rockefeller wasn't content with Wall Street. He wanted adventure, discovery, something beyond the reach of his famous family. In 1961, at just 23, Michael traveled to Papua New Guinea to study tribal art. While crossing a river, his canoe capsized. Locals survived. Michael didn't. He swam for shore and then disappeared into history. Official reports claimed he drowned, but rumors told a darker story. Some said he was captured by cannibals. Others whispered he chose to stay, living among tribes far from the world of suits and skyscrapers. Can you imagine the headlines? A Rockefeller heir, one of the richest families on Earth, lost in a jungle, possibly eaten alive. His body was never found. His name became legend. And if Michael's story chills your bones, wait until you hear about the actor whose final disappearance happened in broad daylight. 11. Dorothy Arnold, the heiress, who stepped out for chocolate and never came back. It was a crisp December afternoon in New York, 1910. Dorothy Arnold, a wealthy socialite from one of Manhattan's most prominent families, strolled down Fifth Avenue. She told friends she was buying chocolates. She smiled, waved goodbye, and then simply vanished. She never returned home. Her family launched a desperate search, but their wealth brought only more confusion. Detectives chased false leads from Paris to Pittsburgh. Some believed she eloped. Others suspected suicide. But whispers in high society suggested something darker: scandal, pregnancy, and a cover-up. Her father dismissed rumors, but his silence only fueled suspicion. Imagine that. The daughter of one of New York's elite, erased from the busiest street in America, without a single witness. For over a century, Dorothy's fate has remained a riddle wrapped in silk and mystery. And if New York could swallow Dorothy Arnold whole, what hope was there for the next star whose final act was the most haunting of all? 12. Oscar Zeta Acosta, the rebel who vanished in Mexico. He was larger than life, a lawyer, a writer, a revolutionary. Oscar Zeta Acosta fought for Chicano rights in the 1970s, becoming both a hero and a target. But Hollywood remembers him for something else. He was the wild, chaotic friend of Hunter S. Thompson, immortalized in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. But the real story, it ends in silence. In 1974, Acosta traveled to Mazatlan, Mexico. He called his son once, his voice sharp, nervous. He said, "I'm about to board a boat full of white snow." Some say he meant cocaine. Others think it was code for something worse. After that call, he vanished. No body, no witnesses, no explanation. Some believe he was killed in a drug deal gone wrong. Others insist the CIA silenced him for his radical politics. But the truth? It slipped into the ocean, never to return. Can you imagine? A man who lived like a storm, swallowed by the silence of the sea. And that's the cruelest part of all these stories. Fame doesn't protect you. Money doesn't save you. When disappearance comes, it leaves only questions and whispers. Because if Gene Spangler, Amelia Earhart, Sean Flynn, and Oscar Acosta can vanish without a trace, then who's next?